Before we start today's episode, I want to talk about our new sponsor, Cosa Nostra Brand. Go to CosaNostraBrand.com and join the family with all the merch that's on sale. So order your gear now and join the family.
Today on Movie Talk Halloween Edition, we're sitting down with a creative powerhouse, producer, director, and special effects artist, known for his ability to work behind the camera and his ability to turn vision into reality. From Joe's War to the Terrifier movies, we will talk about his journey in the industry. Please welcome Phil Falcone.
Welcome everyone to Movie Talk Halloween Special. I'm going to introduce the team first. Mr. Rob Alvarenga, our screenwriter, dressed as Wolverine. How you doing, Robbie?
What's going on, Bubs?
And of course, Dave from DC Unboxed. Dave, DC Caleri. What's going on, Dave?
Still ain't afraid of no ghosts.
We got a special Halloween special going on today, Movie Talk. We got someone who is a director, producer, and he's going to come on and talk about the Terrifier, Joe's War. Welcome from New Jersey's own Phil Falcone. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, guys?
Phil, how are
Welcome
you?
to everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us. And also, I wanted to say thanks for helping the veterans, because I also do that myself.
Oh, awesome. That's a cause. I'll always do it. Everything I make at the cons goes directly to the New Jersey Veterans Network.
Yes, that's great.
Awesome.
I do it with Adoptive Soldier program. I do that.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah, it's very good. So let's get started. We got some questions we want to ask you. First of all, who was Phil Falcone as a kid, and did you enjoy movies as a kid?
Oh yeah, geez. I was weaned on war movies and westerns. I was always Little Joe, and I was always Cage from Combat. I always wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be Kirk Douglas. That's what I used to do. I want to be Kirk Douglas. But life gets a hold of you. I wanted to have a big family. I wanted to have kids. So I knew with this face I wasn't going to make it in front of the camera. So I opted for a different type of work, and I never lost interest in films. I never lost interest. I always wanted to be part of it. I worked in the film industry from 75 to 79.
Okay.
I worked for a company called Cinefex Color Lab. I used to edit film, and that was the old style of editing. It was cutting the film and cementing it back together. So very different than today. Matter of fact, when I first came back, I did this little short with someone, and he says, "You want to come watch us edit?" And I said, "Oh man, it's been 30 years. Yeah, I want to come and see. I want to see what's going on." And I went in there, and there's this table in the middle of the room. Young lady was sitting at the table at the keyboard, had a little laptop computer and a hard drive next to it. And I'm walking in and I'm looking around, and he goes, "You're going to come over and do it?" I said, yeah. When are we going to go do it? He goes, "We'll do it now." I said, "What?" And then I see them moving things, clicking, and I'm going, "You're editing the movie?" He goes, "Yeah." I get out of here. I felt like, you just stepped into like a time warp. I was like, "Oh my God, what the hell is this?" And it was amazing. It was amazing. I said, "Wow, if we had that back in the day."
Wow, that's great. Now, did you I know you liked, you said that war kind of stories were interesting to you. Is that was correct?
Yes. War stories. Like I said, my father was a big Western fan. My mother was into rom-coms, which is where I get that. I love rom-coms. I mean, I goof around that my favorite movie of all time is 10 Things I Hate About You, or How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, or one of those. But I really do like rom-coms. I like rom-coms. I like action films. I like Westerns. As a matter of fact, I'm on a kick lately. I've been watching all the black and whites and all the old John Waynes and the Clint Eastwoods. So I'm getting into it again. I like those films. I like the way they were done. I like the simplicity of the roles, and even though they're great actors, it was a more simplistic time. There was no you didn't have to decipher anything. You saw it. It was there. They acted it out. You had to see their emotions, and it was no special effects really. So, which is what got me excited about in horror films was the special effects, right from Joe's War when I met Damien. Holy cow, I fell in love with it.
You're not a horror fan, though, correct?
I'm not supposed to say no, but no. Actually, I've come to learn. You know, I never thought I was a horror fan, but I did like the black and whites. I did like the classic horrors. I do love Jaws. I never thought of it as a horror film. Omen, never thought of it as a horror film.
Okay.
The one horror film that scared the shit out of me, the only one was, and it was something that I could never watch her on film again, as beautiful as she was Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. When I saw Betty Davis in that movie and how she freaked me out. I still haven't watched it again since then. Probably, if I watched it, I'd probably go, what bothered me so much back then? But I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
So where did you meet Damien?
All right. I was filming Joe's War.
Okay.
I co-wrote Joe's War. I directed it. I produced it. Built the sets on there. But one thing I had no idea how to do was special effects.
Okay.
I turned to my partner at the time and I said, John, we need somebody that does special effects. And he said, and my DP at the time was Tom Agnello. And they both had worked on this little short for someone. And they said, we had this kid, Damien Leone. And,
no, you're there. You're still there. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought.
No, I just put you on the screen bigger. Don't worry about it.
And he said, we just did something with this kid, Damien Leone. He's pretty good. So I said, all right, give me his number. Let me call him. Let me get him here. So I met him. Great kid. We hit it off right away. And I was talking to him about, what I wanted to do. And, and I said, listen, I want this to happen. He goes, I could do that. I could do that. I wish I would have known how good he was. I said, all right, I just want this. I want a little blood coming out. He's going to get shot in the neck and this and that. So he's doing it. And I said, let me try that. And I blew into the blood line. Like, and I'm going, this is fucking cool. This is cool. Yeah. So I said, so while we were doing this, we had another little thing that we had to do with the girl's eye and everything, and actually used my niece Gianna an iPad, because
that's pretty cool.
And he kept talking about this clown movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm not into horror. And believe it or not, my son came over to me and he goes, Dad, why don't you give it a shot? Sounds pretty cool. I said, John, I'm not into horror films. He goes like this, what do you care? Because, see what it's about. So I was about to try and raise money for my next movie, which was going to be an action film called Paintball. And I called him and I said, listen, what are you looking to do? I said, I'm going to pitch a movie to a couple of guys I worked with. What are you looking for this clown movie? And he goes, it's called Terrifier. I said, what are you looking for Terrifier? He goes, 30,000. And I said, what? He said, what the fuck are you going to do with 30,000? I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I'll give you the 30,000. It turned out to be 45,000 or something like that.
Okay.
I'll give you the 30,000. I said, you teach me special effects. We'll partner up. We'll do all this shit. So he goes, all right. Find out later he thought I was full of shit. But I called him up and I said, let me know when you got a bank account. And he goes, I got a bank account. I said, all right, here's your check. And I found out later on, like I said, he thought I was full of shit, but he got the check. And the next day I saw him, I gave him the check. Mm-hmm. And we started, and things just started to align. Mm-hmm. My house in Staten Island, I kept it. It was my first house, had a lot of good times there. And the tenant moved out. So my wife goes, I got to rent the house. I said, no, don't rent the house. I said, we need a place to work. So me and Damien locked ourselves in there for like 3 months and just built out everything. Molded everybody, did everything right there. And I was getting into it, boy. I was enjoying the hell out of it. I loved it. And then we went and we shot the movie. And, everybody was all excited. And I was like, I'm more conservative. And I was like, yeah, hopefully we'll make our money back. You never know. And they were like, we're going to do it. I was like, all right, maybe. I think I'd be happy if I get my money back. And It did okay. It was doing okay. And before it went on Netflix, I hear Damien and Dave are going to a horror con, which I've been to the Hollywood show after Joe's where I was at the Hollywood show. So I saw what that was like. And he said, this was same thing, but for horror. I went there, and now it wasn't even on Netflix yet. And people are walking by, and I see them with homemade Terrifier shirts, Arthur Brown, and I'm looking, oh, that's fucking wild. I said, Damien, this is how much I know about horror. I said, how much is the guy with the hockey mask? How long has he been out? I said, how long has the little doll Chucky been out? I said, how long has that Michael Myers? I said, how long is the guy from Halloween out? He goes, Mike Myers. I go, yeah, the guy with the mask and the knife. And he goes, telling me all these things, and I'm going, and I knew Freddy Krueger. I never saw it, but I knew Freddy Krueger. And I said, he's been around a while. He goes, yeah. We got to go bigger. He goes, I like it. So we went. We were actually upstate, and we went back, and I was talking to him. We were discussing things, and I said, yeah, we definitely got to go bigger. And he goes, what are you thinking? So I said, let's try like 200, 250, moderate, low budget, whatever. And well, ultra low budget. I don't remember what the term is. And he goes, cool. Because I guess he, never worked with that kind of money before.
Yeah. Okay.
This time we had time. So we spent 6 months in my basement because now my house was rented and I had to put it on my wife. So we spent 6 months in my basement building everything. And we also had, we were building sets upstate in my barn.
Wow.
Yeah, I built the sets up there. But right before this happened, while we were fixing all this stuff, I ended up in the hospital. I had open heart surgery.
Oof.
And I thought that was going to knock me out. But we actually have pictures of me. I'm sitting there. I got all kinds of wires on me, oxygen tank. And I made my wife go home and get me the booklet I was working on because I drew everything out to scale on the paper.
Okay.
How it's got to be set, how it's got to be based off what Damien wanted. And the Clown Cafe truck has got to be parked right this way, this many feet from this wall, this way. And I was showing them all this, and they're going, why don't you just wait? I said, what if I don't make it?
Yeah. Wow.
So, all right. So I survived.
Everything's good.
Then that was August 9th. And I think it was like September 14th, right around there. I'm still bandaged and everything. My wife goes out to the store. Damien's downstairs molding. I run downstairs, hobbled downstairs, and I started molding with him. And my wife walks in the door, and she sees me on my hands and knees putting silicone on people, and she goes, "What are you, crazy?" Oh, shit. And we were filming the next month in October. That carousel and everything, we had to do that, and that was done in Coney Island, where I'm originally from.
Okay.
We did it. I called up a friend that I haven't spoken to in like 40 years, Joey Pagano. I said, "Do we have any friends that still do anything with the cyclone or anything?" And he goes, "No, but remember Nellie Bly?" He goes, "I know the guy who owns it." I said, "That'll work." And we went down there and we filmed there. So that was, I think, like right before Halloween. And then we filmed that. I almost killed myself there too. I picked up a bale of hay and threw it, and I said, "Oh shit, that didn't feel good." But yeah, so that was the start of Terrifier 2. It was a start. George Stuber actually saved my life on DP. Because I was, excuse me.
I was gonna say you had a cameo in there, right? In the cafe, right? Weren't you in there?
I have a cameo in Terrifier 1.
Okay.
I'm the studio executive. I had no hair.
Okay.
In Terrifier 2, still slightly bald. I had crew cut. And
third one, bus driver.
On fire. I'm also the studio executive. I'm walking around, but then when I mean, how often in life do you get to do these things?
Yeah.
We were putting people on fire with that one person and the girl. And I said, before we did that, I said, I want to go on fire. I want to be in the scene. I want to be on fire.
Oh
He goes,
my
oh, I
God.
can't do that. You just had open heart surgery. And I said, I go on fire and nobody goes on fire. I'm telling you now. He goes, I'll put your arm and your back on fire. How's that? I said, that's good. And
Okay.
I laid down on the floor. So there was that little cameo. And then in 3, Tom the bus driver.
You're the bus driver.
Movie.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now I know you and Damien are really close.
Yeah.
And he had said on a couple interviews that you're like a father to him, and that he's a perfectionist, but you are more like close enough, it's good, let's go. That's the way you are.
Close is good.
Close is good. That's correct.
Close is good. Close is good. He's a perfectionist. I mean, his work is impeccable. Like me, if I'm gonna fill something with blood, I'm gonna make a gap, put a couple of lines in it, I'm good to go. He wants veins, he wants it. And let me tell you something, it works. It's amazing. I remember the first kill I saw. I said, Damien, there's not that much blood in a body. He goes, they're gonna love it. I said, okay.
Wow. Have you ever gone, when you're doing them with the scenes, think you've gone too far where you're like, hey, maybe we should cut the back a little bit, or no?
I don't think so. You know why? Because I think it's all fake.
Yeah.
It's all fake. I see all these movies, like people say, oh, you can't kill kids in a movie. I'll tell you what I offered. I said, my daughter-in-law didn't like it. I said, I want you to grab my grandson by the ankles and swing him and smash him. Not really, but smash him against the wall. Kill. It's fake. So what? Have fun with it. There's so many movies that have kids getting killed and everything. And this is a horror movie. Again, you don't do that, but I just think it's fake. It's shock value, I guess. And of course, we would have never did that with the kid. But that's my train of thought is push it. And I think Damien's is like that too. He'll be like, push it, but don't step over the line. Like we would never show anything too much with a kid. We try and stay. You stay within the story. You stay with what makes sense in that moment. Like I don't want to comment. Like a few horror movies that I've watched, it's like I look at it and I go, that would never happen. We never do that. So we try and stay more on the realistic side of what would happen in real life. Of course, you go into all these other things where you have to go, like the supernatural and everything. But for the most part, you try and stay true to life, and then you put in these weird shit to make it enjoyable. Not too much gore without having a laugh. I like that. And I think that's why I enjoy it. But the most I enjoy about this is working with the people. I like building things. I like playing with the special effects immensely. Cool. I was actually upset on Terrifier 3 because we hired a big team, and I would walk by our effects team every day and go, if you need me, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. Once in a while, they throw me a bone, like, shut him the fuck up. Come here, you can paint this. Come here, you could fix this limb. Shit like that. But I still got to do, I got to build a couple of things. I got to do a couple of the effects that are in there. The bathtub scene, we didn't know how we were going to do that, where she's not totally submerged in that shit. So I built a contraption that went inside the tub that you never see. You look at behind the scenes footage. I think Steve on Fuzz on the Lens has a couple of pictures of him actually climbing in. I built a wooden thing like that you'll go in, almost like a what do you call those? The rafts. Yeah, the boards where you go in, you sit in, and you.
Oh yeah.
And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, kayak. Yeah, it's almost like a kayak. You slide in, you stay, and we had her cinched, and then she just lays in the top stuff.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I wanted to ask you quickly about Joe's War. You had a powerful cast: Armand Arsanti, Tom Sizemore. I mean, incredible. Did you pick those people, those actors?
Yes, me and my partner. Okay. We had some people in the industry. I'll tell you right now, Tom Sizemore, although he had many issues, great guy. Armand Arsanti, good friend at this point. When I show it to the veterans, I'll call him, I'll go, I'm going to go show it to the veterans. He goes, I'm there.
Wow.
Cool as hell. When we were done shooting, he goes, if you got anything else, he goes, don't even worry about it. I won't charge nothing. Just let's do it. And Ed Asner, me and him got along great. He's like, his daughter thought, she goes, oh my God, you guys are like identical. And my wife, when she met him, she goes, oh my God, she was right. He met me at his door because I forgot to interview him. He met me at his door in shorts and a cup of coffee. And I knock on the door, he opens it, he goes, what the fuck are you doing here? And that's how we woe at each other. For his birthday, I sent him, because he lost his glasses on the set, I had to bring him all the way to his hotel from Staten Island into Manhattan. And so for his birthday, I got him those big plastic glasses and How to Act for Dummies. And I sent them to him, and he goes, you little bastard. He was a funny dude. I miss him. I miss Ed.
Yeah, he passed away.
But yeah, that was good. Joe Lisi, who helped me out a lot, he's been in a few things. Joe Lisi, I got to know my friend Jeff Marchetti. He was on The Sopranos, and that's where he met Joe Lisi. And I was asking for actors that would fit the grandfather or the father role. And I spoke with a couple, and they didn't want to work with a first-time director, and I was fine with that. But when I spoke to Joe Lisi, he looked at it and he said, he goes, yeah, I'll do this. And on the set, he actually, because again, this is my first time. I didn't even know what a director did. I didn't know what a producer did. I really didn't. I looked it up and I said, a producer, he fixes problems. I'm very good at it. And a director, he just gets he gets his vision across. He's got to get the vision across. And a producer's got to be a little bit of a bullshit artist. He's got to be able to talk. He's got to be able to. So I built teams my whole life. So I said, all right, I can do that. Now let me get a director. And anybody worth this shit was too expensive. I said, I reread it and I said, he's got to get the vision across. Who's got a better vision of this than me? I'm the one who wrote it.
Yep.
So I said, I'll take a shot. Matter of fact, a couple of people told me, you're crazy, don't do it. And I said, I'm going to do it. I got to get this story out, because it was more about what happens to the people around, not just the person. It's what happens to everyone involved, like around them. So I did it. Was not a commercial success, but taught me a lot. It was like college, and I met over 250 veterans with PTSD. Got to meet them, got to sit with them. Matter of fact, red carpet premiere in California. I didn't even go into the movies. I was sitting with veterans the whole night. A whole color guard came, and I sat outside the theater just talking to them. Matter of fact, somebody came over, one of the head veterans. They said, we're not allowed on the red carpet. I said, what do you mean not allowed on the red carpet? He said, they said it's only for actors. I walked over. Veterans come first. I don't give a shit about the actors.
Very, very nice.
And so they got to go on. One guy played the flute, a special song. He was a Native American, and he played the flute. And I mean, it was an amazing night for me. Something I never thought I'd do. And from there, it's grown.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Terrifier 3. Art the Clown is now really big. I mean, all the young kids love them. They got tattoos of them on their chest everywhere. The big studios, they have their eye on you guys, want to try and buy that franchise. Have they talked to you about trying to get their hands on that?
Oh yeah, a few studios called and tried to do Terrifier 3.
I bet.
And this is where me and Damien are a lot alike. Why? Why would we give that up? You're going to ruin it. Exactly. Again, we want to give the fans what they want. And like me and him talk all the time, and it's like we never want to get stale. We don't want to get boring. We don't want to ruin the character. We don't want to dilute it. So we're going to do our best to hold on to it as long as we can. I'm no spring chicken, so but it's as long as we have control over it, there won't be any selling out.
That's great, because us as fans, we love it, and we're scared. Those big studios, they'll change everything. Once they get control, they'll change everything and do everything. Did you have problems with the unions too?
Oh yeah.
I bet, because they control those. You know,
not us.
no, not you guys.
SAG gave us a lot of trouble.
I'm sure.
SAG was rough. I'm trying not to get too hard on them this time, but I've voiced my opinion on a few places. It was ridiculous, and I think it was because I wouldn't allow the other unions in.
Mhm.
And
I think so.
a couple of times they reached out, other unions, and I was like, no, it's non-union, not going to happen. Here's the problem. When a union's involved, even SAG takes so much money from you. It comes out of your budget, and it doesn't go on the screen.
Yep.
But I do understand some of it, because they say a lot of producers don't pay a lot of things, so they want to cover. This is okay, but it comes out of your budget for the film. So unless you have major budgets, it hurts. Now the other unions, you're going to pay a guy to drive a truck and sit in that truck and not do anything else,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to make over $1,000
Mm-hmm.
that day.
Mhm.
That day, and then the fringes are like 42%. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's SAG, 42%. So if you're paying somebody $1,000 a day, it's $1,420 a day. For unions, it's I think 26%. So if you're paying him $1,000, it's $1,260, and he doesn't do anything else.
Wow.
He don't unload the truck. He doesn't do nothing. They have other people for that are going to get paid exorbitant fees. So I went out and bought 2 trucks.
Wow.
And we do it.
Yep. And you can see it on the screen, the passion and everything there.
Well, that's it. We have a tight crew. For Terrifier, we had like I'm gonna say 6 people at 6 people was our regular crew, and then every now and then we'd get a couple of PAs to come and help out, so we'd have 9 people maybe. For Terrifier 2, we had 9 people, and every now and then we'd have 12 as the crew. So everybody wears so many hats. We do so many things. And then on Terrifier 3, we had a bigger budget. We had a bigger cast, and we had limited time because we had signed contracts to get this thing done. So we had deliverable dates, which really hurt because we had to hurry it. And we didn't, I ended up funding Terrifier 3 again, and I wasn't supposed to. So it was tough to do, and it was tight. And so it was like, this is rough, but we did it. We did it. It came out very good. I think anyway. I'm a little biased, but I look at where I started. I look at where we started with Joe's War, Terrifier, and for Terrifier 3, I'm like, wow, we're making real movies. And like to me, my favorite one is Terrifier 2.
Oh wow!
Like
Okay.
I look at that screen. I never made an animatronic before, so that was cool. And then we're on the set, and Damien goes, I want it to move on the bed, and I'm like, all right. I said, I did something in Joe's where I built a bed, and you couldn't tell it was a fake bed. I said, if I do that, I could cut some holes in it. We can move her arms and legs. And I had already animated the head where I'm behind the wall when this is happening. And I got PVC in the back of her head and a fishing wire through the mouth. And because he had asked me, he goes, you think you can make it open its mouth and close its mouth? I said, I don't know. I never did this shit before. Looked around my basement, found fishing wire, figured it out. I said, okay, we got it. And then when we were on the set, I'm behind the wall, and he goes, head. And I tilt the head up, and he got cut. He go, slower. All right. And he go, mouth. And he do that. So it was cool. I never did anything like that before. But all over that film is shit that me and the boys built. I mean, we built 5 or 6 sets in my barn upstate. So like Clown Cafe, that's a funny one. Because the Clown Cafe, first of all, my wife is here. She's going to yell. When I did Joe's War, in my hallway, the front door, we were filming the doctor's scene. The doctor said, I'm closed those days. You could use my office. Da, da, da. I said, all right. So I go in. He decided, being that he's got to be there, he'll see people. I'm filming.
Okay.
So I said, all right, when he goes into the doctor's office, when we get out of the waiting room, which was tough because all the people talking, I said, I'm going to build what this hallway looks like in my living room. I mean, in my foyer, and I'm going to use my office as the doctor's.
Okay.
So I put it up, and my wife goes, how long is that going to stay? I said, don't worry about it. It'd be out in a couple of weeks. I think it was 8 months.
Wow.
I didn't want to take it down. I didn't know if I was going to need it again.
Wow.
By that time, we stopped using our front door and still do not to this day use our front door. We come up the back. We don't.
Wow.
We never use our front door. But now, fast forward, Terrifier 2. We were trying to get a tank for Sienna to be in hell.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
They were like $15,000-$20,000.
Really? Wow.
So I said, Damien, you mind if there's wood sides? He goes, no, just we'll dress it up. I said, all right. I bought a 1-inch thick plexiglass for the two sides in the front, plywood back. I built it. And I built it on my patio in the back.
Wow.
I told my wife, as soon as we're done filming, he'll be out of here. A year later, it was out of there. So we had that tank in the backyard for a year, was filled with snow. I wish I would have took pictures. When it snowed, it would fill up. It was like, oh my God, it was a mess.
You know, those movie props that you build, they're worth money. People want those.
I know.
You realize that? People are yelling all over eBay looking for stuff like that.
I know.
You know,
it's all there. Clown Cafe, I was going to tell you, the Clown Cafe, we're downstairs, me and Damien, and we're building stuff. And he goes, we got to push the shoot back. I don't want to hear that. Nah. He goes, Phil, you don't even have a set. Now we're 4 days away from shooting. I look at him and said, you stay here, you finish the props. I grabbed George, Steve Delasala, and Jason, went upstate. My friend Larry was up there. And in 3 days, we built that set for the Clown Cafe.
Wow.
He walked up that day and he goes, holy shit, you did it.
That's impressive. That bedroom scene was incredible. That's what, and unbelievable.
Damien's creative as can be. He's creative as can be. And Casey, she pulled that off amazing. She did a great job.
Yep. That movie had no marketing, but the fans word of mouth just spread. And I remember a bunch of us were just going to the movies to see it. And we're like, wow, we got to see this movie. We got to get a hold of it. It doesn't know everything. We were just trying to see this movie.
I'll tell you, the first time I went to that con that I was telling you about, I said, what the fuck am I doing here? Look at these fucking lunatics. All right. Now, I could tell you, I meant it in an honest but good way. I've grown to love our fan base. They're amazing. They're very knowledgeable about film, very personable. When I'm at these cons, I don't get lines like Dave or Damien or Warren or anybody. I get a few people. I talk with them. I have a blast with them. I screw with them. I mean, I bothered so many people there breaking chops, but I have a blast with these people, and it's fun and it's exciting, and you hear what they think about stuff that we produced, and it's fulfilling.
Wow, that's great. Rob, what do you got? Some questions, Rob? You had some.
Oh, I got a few questions for you, Phil. So you have to bear with me. Let's just stick with the Terrifier stuff. So to you, what you were just talking about with horror fans. I mean, I'm a big horror guy myself. I'm the only horror guy here that's like really like into this stuff. So, and I just wanted to like share like from a fan's perspective that the first time I saw the poster for the first Terrifier, I think that's something that actually was based on what Damien actually drew to show you, if I'm not mistaken. I was just like, there's a vibe to this thing. It's like, I don't know what this is, but I need to know more. And, he just created a character that, to your point, in the horror universe, he's iconic already. He's already up there. And I think he's going to have like longevity to it. when did you feel like, you know what, like what, I guess my question is, what do you think is the connection that Art the Clown has with the fans? What about him kind of like really drove like the fans to like say, you know what, we love this guy, we want more of him?
I think it's the simplicity of his look. It's evil. It's scary. Um, the black and white, I think, was a perfect thing. I think him not talking is huge.
Yeah.
It's like the exact opposite of
Freddy
Krueger. But he has antics like Freddy Krueger, I guess. So he's got that. I think the love of it is the goofiness along with the sadisticness. Like he plays with like his food. It's like somebody playing with their
Yes.
food, and he makes you
Yes.
laugh about it. So even though there's something so horrible going on, you're actually there going, "Oh shit, look at that." It's fucking wild. If you would have told me before Terrifier, Phil, you're gonna love doing a gory slasher film, I would have said you're out of your fucking mind. But it's awesome. It's fun. You got, you surround yourself with good people and you're having fun doing something you always wanted to do. I mean, how could you top that? And I wanted to say this before because when Joe mentioned as a fan, word of mouth, this is a grassroots operation. There's been no media really for anything. And I could tell you the fans, if it wasn't for the fans, this would be nothing. This thing is all fan driven. It's amazing. We have the best fans in the world. It's easy for me to say that because I not only witnessed it at the cons, but the fact that this movie blew up with no marketing is insane.
Yeah. A lot of money in marketing. They spend, these movie theaters pay, I don't know, millions in marketing. Millions.
They wanted money to market it, and I said, no need.
Yeah.
We have a very
That's
small
beautiful.
marketing budget.
Wow.
That's great. I also want to ask because I've read up on how, like, I'm a screenwriter, so I'm like I've done my own, like, short films. I've been on sets and stuff like that, and one dynamic I always was just like fascinated with is the dynamic between director and producer. And the director, I mean, Damien seems like, you said it a million times, like he's he's a perfectionist, he's an artist, he's like really into the craft, and you're there to make sure that it happens within the confines of a budget and all that stuff. How do you guys like make that happen? What challenges do that you guys have?
Well, for the first Terrifier, there was no budget, so it was just like let's do this. So we worked shoulder to shoulder, getting everything done. Damien, George, and I. For Terrifier 2, me and Damien built everything before we started filming. Then we had to revisit some things like the kill in the yellow room had to be readjusted. The kill in Abracadabra, we didn't like the way it looked, so we readjusted that. We actually filmed that again. We refilmed certain cut-ins in upstate. I don't think me and Damien ever butted heads until Terrifier 3. Terrifier 3 was a tough one. And he would come and I would do like I did to my kids. No. And then I would sit there and he's pissed. And I'm like, all right, how do I, because what he's saying, I want to happen. You don't want to stop him. You don't want to stop this because you know how good he is. But you also know if I lose a day here, or if I'm taking a day here, where do I pick it up down the road? Or how do I lose something down the road? So I'll sit there and he's mad and I'll go back to him and I'll say, listen, if we stay here and do this, you got to lose something here.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd go, yeah. And then he'd figure, I'll talk him into it later, But so he's got to try and get whatever he can. And I got to try and limit it to what we can do and what makes sense. I try not to hurt his creativity because it's important for him to get his vision across. Sometimes you have to cut things, and he knows it. We had to cut scenes in Terrifier 3. It might, they might pop up again, but for Terrifier 3, it was like, we got to lose something, and we did. It didn't hurt it because you lose the things that are not story driven, and it wouldn't have been kills because that's you don't want to lose those in these kind of movies.
Wow, that's crazy. Unbelievable.
Right.
You got. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just I want one last thing. On because you've written a movie. You got a chance to actually direct it and stuff. And one part in Joe's War, you wrote it with John DeMeo, I believe is his name. How was that dynamic when you're I know with me, I think I worked one time with a writer, and it wasn't easy, kind of like trying to the ideas, how do you say, okay, this is going to work, this is not going to work. How do you work with another writer when you're putting together a script, for a movie that you both of you guys are trying to make?
I don't think I could do that really. What happened was I was writing a World War II script, and John came to me and he said, I'm writing a war script too. So I said, all right, cool. So he goes, would you look at it for me? So he gave me 5 handwritten pages. And I said, all right, cool. It was about PTSD. But there was nothing there. And he goes, can you, he was watching what I was writing, and he says, can you flesh mine out a little? Well, he said, could you build mine up a little bit? I like the way you write. So I took basically what he had was Joe's work. I'd come back from the war with PTSD. And after that, I realized a lot of stuff sounded like, and I never saw The Sopranos, but I happened to be in a doctor's office, and it was on, and believe it or not, and I heard 4 lines from what he wrote right in that movie right there, and the TV show, and I was like, well, that's not good. So I went back, and because like I said, I never saw this, but it sounded like a cuisine talking, which I sound. I mean, but I try not to write like that all the time. But so when I went home, and I'm not taking anything away from John because it was the inspiration for everything. So I wrote, and I built it up a little bit, and I said, here, this will play better. And he goes, can you do more? Can we go partners? And I said, John, I'm not going to do a short. I'm going to do a feature. I just want to dive in. I don't want to do short. So he came back to me 3 or 4 times, and it went from that 5-page handwritten to 50 pages typed in final draft. And he goes, come on, Phil, let's do it together. And I said, I'll tell you what, we'll do it together, but it's got to be a feature, and we got to cast it right, not with, So he said, okay. And I will tell you, he was a big component on getting Armand Asante, very big component. And anything I needed that when I was busy, I John, we got to do this, get the paperwork done. And he did all that, which I hate. And I'm doing it on Terrifiers, and it kills me. But you do what you got to do. And so writing with him was not a thing. It was, he brought something, and I fleshed it out. I had written a movie called Paintball, and I was trying to get that done before Terrifier 4, might still. I'm trying to get funds for that. Paintball I wrote before Terrifier was written, or not before it was written, but before I got involved. I had written that right after Joe's War, or right during Joe's War, some shit like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was 144 pages. And I was so I put that, I put that to bed. And after working with Damien and seeing what could be done with a smaller budget, with knowledge, now that I'm building all these things and everything, and I'm figuring it out, I revisited it, and I have this kid, Steve Conka, helping me out on it. I'll write something, I'll go, how does this feel for you? And he'll go, well, maybe do this. And I'm very open. There's no ego involved. So if I like something, he says, I'll change it. If it sounds better, it's better. But I took that 144 pages down to 85 pages.
Okay.
It's very tight script. And because of my fan base, I turned it from an action film to an action film with a lot of awesome kills.
Yeah, awesome. That's great.
That's great. That's awesome there. That's pretty cool. Dave, you got something you wanted to ask too? Go ahead.
Yeah. So Phil, since art's already been mentioned, amongst the Mount Rushmore of horror, right? Like the Freddys, the Jasons, the Michael Myers. As you guys continue to to tell these stories, do you ever feel the need to top the previous movie or make sure that you kind of stay where you guys have found your niche, or do you just like, let's just tell the best story we can?
I like story. I really do. I like telling a story. I think Damien knows where he's going with this. He's got an arc that he has to fill. Terrifier 4 should fill that arc. Then what happens from there? I didn't realize this was on. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Then what happens from there? We'll see. You know, what we don't want is to get stale. We don't want to become stale. We don't want to be like, oh, they did it again. Oh, they did it again. So we never want to be that group. Like, they should have stopped at 1. They should have stopped at 4. They should have stopped at 7. They should have stopped before he went to the moon. You know, I don't ever want to do that. I'd rather not see it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I can't tell you because I don't usually watch a like once a movie gets stale, I want out. You know, once like if you got 1, 2, 3, if the third one is starting to get stale, I don't want to see it. But we've been keeping it. Damien's been keeping it very vibrant, very cool. Again, you know, his creativity. You know, you had mentioned that it was off a drawing of Damien's. Do you know when he shows me things, like he has a certain person's look in mind with every character he has, which is amazing. When he did this poster, and this was before I ever saw Lauren as Sienna. And if you look at the poster, you'd say, oh, that's got to be Lauren, and it's not. It was done way before she was cast. So he has these looks in his mind for his characters. And our casting, when we do our casting, we always sit down together. We'll go over things. Now because it's since COVID, you know, like you do most of your shit on online, which I'm terrible, but we go through it, and he'll say, yeah, pick your 4 best, and I'll do the same, and then we'll mix and match. And it's been working. You know, I mean, my taste is a little different than his, but we usually have like 1 or 2 people that are like in the top group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you casted David as Art the Clown, he was a perfect because very physical how he moves. Perfect.
When Damien said, because again, when we were doing it, Damien goes, he doesn't talk, he doesn't do this. I said, so why don't we go for a mime? And he goes, yeah, we should do that. And we put it out for a mime, but Dave wasn't a mime, but he did have some mime experience. And actually, he tells the story when he came to the casting, he didn't have a script. He thought his agent fucked up. And and he came in, and Damien told him what he wanted him to do. And Dave went at it, and he did this whole routine. And me and Damien were fucking laughing our asses off. And when he walked out, he goes, do we really need to see anybody else? And I said, this is your call, but he was fucking good. And and I think the next time we saw him, we were putting him in makeup to see what he looked like.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Dave, you got anything else?
Yeah, so even though Art has some fairly ambiguous beginnings, like there's not too much history on him, do you know if Damien has any plans to like dive into where he comes from at all?
I think he mentions that you'll get more of a story.
Okay.
I think he was going further than that. I actually said, don't do that.
Yeah,
I like not knowing, and I don't know. I mean, I can guess, and I love that. I love thinking what it might be.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he doesn't give away too much. I hope he gives away enough to feed more. I always feel like when you have the answer, it's either a major letdown or all right, that happened. Now what? What do you got left?
Right.
So I'm hoping he gives you some more answers, and I'm sure he will. I'm just hoping he don't give you too many answers, because like I said, I like to keep thinking. I like when I hear people go, I think this is why. I think this is why. Because to me, that's part of the media frenzy that you want.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. What was the atmosphere? I know you had late nights filming. What was the atmosphere like on set? Was it a little bit tough?
I'm going to say one that comes to mind immediately. Terrifier 2, where Frank Frank Procopio's Fright Factory in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Dynamite guy. He gave me the keys and said, lock up when you're done. We hit it off too. Matter of fact, Frank, I owe you a visit. I know we got to go out to dinner. Congratulations, Nicolette. So we were working when we were putting in a long day, and we would just toast. We were all toast. And I don't know if you know the Fuzz Boys, bunch of young kids, good attitude.
No.
Yeah, Fuzz on the Lens.
Yeah.
So we're like this.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I think it was Jason Levy puts on this music, and all of a sudden it was wild because everybody's getting up. Even me, I'm like, they got video of me like dancing all over the place, little fat bastard. I'm going, holy shit. And then when the music ended, we were like rejuvenated for a little bit. And then all of a sudden you see it coming down again. And we had to end the night, but it was wild because that just boom. It was like amazing. It's like family. It really is. You got so many cool people. You know, not everybody fits the mold, but we've been pretty good. We've been pretty lucky. We got some good people. It's cool. You know, long nights is tough, but if you have everybody trying to do the right thing, trying to make a great movie for the best we can, you know, that's what you shoot for. You shoot for an amazing end.
David had mentioned that he was kind of scared of rats, and you had the rat scene going on. How the fuck did that happen?
That's on 3, because on 2, I actually brought rats into my house in my garage.
Oh God!
We had to shoot rats. You know, when we first screened it, everybody said he talks about rats. There's no rats in the movie, so we had to get rats.
Oh God!
But in 3, we had rat wranglers, so we had a bunch of rats, and everybody got to pet them. I go pet, and I got a little bit. Tell you, son of a bitch. I was like, he said it was just checking you out, and I go, how come you didn't check out anybody else? He was like, I mean, no blood, not just a little nip. I was like, I just wanted to pet the thing. But yeah, rats are a little weird. Sam Scafidi, she was playing with them.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, wild. I couldn't have did that. I mean, I could have held it, but that would have been about it.
Damien mentioned that it was your idea for Christmas for the third one.
Yeah, yeah. I ain't gonna take any credit. He pulled the trigger on that. Yeah, he says that. He also, when I do my cameo at the end,
yes, the bus driver.
Because I keep bothering him. I wanted to be in it. I wanted to be the bartender. It's a good thing I wasn't. But I was the bus driver, and he goes, we get down there, and we're about to shoot, and we had no time left. And he goes, all right, sing Silent Night. And I went, I'm not fucking singing. He goes, oh, you got to sing. I said, I'm not fucking singing. He goes, Phil, you got to sing. It's the throw. I said, I'm not fucking singing. He goes, why not? We drive 4 hours upstate. You sing all the way the fuck up there. Because you don't shut the fuck up. He goes, just sing. So then he started singing. So I said, all right, I'll do it. And I sang.
Wow. That's unbelievable. It's crazy. But when can we expect Terrifier 4, do you think? We're the fans we want to know.
He's still writing it.
Okay.
I can tell you this. I told you Terrifier 3, we had all kinds of time restraints and everything. That will not happen again.
Oh, wow.
We're not going to do that again. It was crazy. The pressure we were under, Jason Milstein, he's amazing. He does sound. He's also our post-production supervisor. He did everything. He even did special effects, because we needed some quick work on special effect on the CGI and shit. And we pride ourselves on not using CGI, so we only use it to enhance. But this time we had to enhance a few more things because of some of the things that didn't work. We had to fix in post. But if it wasn't for him, we would have never got this film out. He was incredible. He was incredible. I can't say it enough. And he's another one that I met Jason and we hit it off. That's what I say. I'm pretty good at building teams. I'm pretty good at bringing people together, and Damien's good at it. And we got a good nucleus. We have a good nucleus. So we try, and when we bring in new people, we see how they fit. And if they fit well, they'll be around,
Yeah. And it tells on screen because, the big production company is all about the money. You guys have got the passion that shows on screen. And that's why the fans love it. I mean, that's where we can't wait for it to come out,
I think, I look at some of these big productions, and I've been on a couple of sets, and it seems like there's just so much waste because they even made us waste money. They would come in and go, "Where's all the dressing rooms? What are you talking about? We have a big room where everybody sits, and then they go get dressed there." I mean, this is not Casablanca or something, Oh, wait, man. But it's not Gone with the Wind where you're getting major money from a studio, and they're like, no, they have to have private rooms. So we got to go out and buy things or rent things and make cubicles and shit like that. This is one of the things SAG was kicking our ass with. And here's the best part. We got all these cubicles, we got all these spaces, we got all these things, and all the actors and actresses hung out together and watched the scenes unfold. Nobody used them. So it's just throwing money away for no apparent reason. Just bad things.
And you think about the Alec Baldwin situation on his movie where he gun went off, and apparently they didn't, do the right thing either. But like I saw, they didn't get questioned or anything.
I could tell you this: we're very careful. You notice the opening scene of 3. We have a stunt coordinator. We have all that. We have everybody in place.
Yep.
But even with that, I've been around a long time. I know how things could go. When we were doing that scene, he goes, all we have to do is put a piece of plywood on this side of the door and let him put the axe through this side of the door. She'll be on the other side by this. I said, no. I said, she's going to be leaned against here. I said, if that axe goes through wrong and it clips her arm, we're fucked. And she's fucked. I said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give him a box to hit. Even if she goes like this, he can't hit her. He's hit this little spot. So she's protected. Then I said, she's up against a railing because it's very close. I said, I want mats underneath. Got to have pads underneath. So we did that. Then when she gets the axe in the back, he's supposed to throw her into the staircase. I said, no. Throws her against the wall. Staircase, she hits it. It splinters. She gets pierced by a piece of wood. No. So even though you have people, you see things a little different and you bring it out. So I try to be very safe with my people. Then when it comes to me, I get a little stupid.
Yeah.
I want to do stupid things. I want to try what they're doing, and I'm not in the shape to do it.
I saw the behind the scenes when you had the person on fire. As soon as they went down, you had them sprayed. You had them all. You took care of that scene perfectly. I mean, we saw the behind the scenes stuff.
We are we do the best we can. You never know what's going to happen, but we're like I said, we're here to have fun.
Yeah,
we're not here for aggravation.
Yeah. Well, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. We can't wait for the movie to come out. We're big fans. Hopefully, where do you do it premiere? In New York?
We've done both New York, LA. Our last premiere, I forgot what theater, but it was here. It was in New York.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can come and we can maybe record and sit down and just talk and bullshit a little bit.
Sounds good. We love you. Reach out when you see it happening.
All right.
Of course, Bill. Thank you so much.
I can tell you, this isn't all here right now. It's like there's so many friggin' things going on. Like I said, I'm still trying to get a movie in before Terrifier 4. I'm actually in about 10 minutes. I'm going to be on the phone with some investors and see if I can get the funds to get this paintball.
Paintball? Okay, that's cool. Because we'll support that. Whatever you have, good luck. We'll support it too.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil. We love you. Take care, man.
Much boys. I appreciate it.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron. Body builder coding. Years on the